Today we're talking about financial data in the digital age. So this is the Zcash education segment, and we're still on Module 2 and lesson 5. Today is the financial data in the digital age. Basically, we're going to be talking about what actually happens, when you spend your money in the digital age. I know we've been talking a lot about financial privacy, all of those things. We've talked about money, Now we're trying to talk about transactions in itself, right? So, yeah. Um, what our objective today is to understand what happens to your financial information when you make digital payments, right? So, yes, when money becomes data, basically. So, when you give someone cash, right? What happens? What happens is that only you and the person that you gave the cash to knows that there was some sort of transaction, right? Um, let's use like the most simple thing, right? Let's say you go to church or to the mosque, any of your religious this thing, and you are paying offering, right? You go to the offering box or donation box with cash, you drop it in. It's usually between you and God. Nobody else knows how much you dropped, right? In the offering basket or the donation box that day. It's just you and God, right? That's how cash works. There's no trail at all, right? But if you realize these days, some churches do this thing where they have like the church bank account displaying on the projector screen or something, and then you make transfer. Now, when you do transfer in this situation, everybody knows how much you donated. Your name is there, right? The bank you transferred from, the amount you transferred, blah blah blah, that Sunday, right? So this is just the difference between what happens when you pay with cash and what happens when you use digital payments. That's when you do transfer, right? There is a digital record, right, of what happened. So people can see that on Sunday, so and so day, Thanksgiving Sunday, Etukudo went and did transfer of 5K to the church account. Everybody has access to that information. In quotes, you get it. Because the moment there's a need for Etukudo to submit his bank statement or whatever, that information is going to be right there. Right? That's how it works. That's how your money moves, and that's how information is created. That's how data is collected. That's how it happens when we make payments in this digital age, right? Unlike I said earlier, when you are working with cash, nobody actually gets to know what's going on, right? Except they are literally trailing you. Maybe they have a camera on you, they're surveilling you 247, that kind of thing. That's only when, you know, somebody can tell that, okay, this is what you did, this is what you did not do, right? So that's that. Um, Now, so your digital payments reveal a lot of things, right, about you. And the normal one that we know is the amount and the sender, the recipient. Now, but behind all of those things, there is metadata. Even your pictures, when you take a picture, right, you can check the metadata of that picture, meaning you can check the location in which that photo was taken. You can get to know the time that photo was actually taken, stuff like that. That's metadata is like information that actually describes or gives context to that particular thing. In this case, where we're talking about finances and all, we're talking about things that give information that gives context to a transaction. So normally, what we're aware of is that when I send, let's say, 5K to Omega, right? Everybody knows that you can see the amount I sent to Omega. You can see that it's Omega I sent it to. You can see the time I sent. Now, there is even transaction IDs, right? If you make a transfer today, there's usually a transaction ID, all of those things. So those are metadata right? Those information can give context. They can say, oh, in the narration, Els wrote for 1 plate of chicken wrap plus Coke, right? That kind of thing. So there's so much information that can be gotten from just one transaction, right? Everybody can see what, like, it can tell a whole story, basically. So digital payments will reveal so many things that you never thought that it could. Right? For those that are not really aware of what's happening, this is just how it works. Everybody will get to know if or when the time is right. Right? We keep saying, oh, I have nothing to hide, but somebody was saying something recently that you might think that your WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted until you commit a crime. Then you figure out that it's actually not end-to-end encrypted. All of your information is out there. That's just basically how it is, right? And so the same thing applies to our digital payments, our transactions online. This is just how it is. So one payment, like, I'm going to talk about patterns for a bit, right? If one time I send on a Monday, I send 5,000 naira to Omega, and in the description I write chicken wrap plus Coke, right? On maybe next week Monday, I do another the same Omega's account. Let's say maybe it's PalmPay. I send another 5,000 naira and I still write chicken wrap plus Coke. Another Monday, I do the same thing. Now there's a pattern. Like, if somebody has access to that thing, the first time I send that kind of money, 5K to Omega, chicken wrap, this, people might not think much about it. But I've done it repeatedly. I've done it multiple times on the same day, maybe at the same time. Maybe I should do it 12 12 in the morning, right? I mean, the afternoon daily, I do it like that, like that. I've been doing it. Now it becomes a pattern, and people can be like, okay, so this means that every Monday, L sends 5K to Omega's PalmPay for chicken wrap and Coke. Now people will now start thinking, this is a pattern. Why does she do it every Monday by 12 p.m.? The only reason why they can do all of these things, right? The only reason why they can put a pattern to it is because they've been able to see my metadata for my transactions from time to time. That's the only reason why they can form these patterns. That's the only reason why we'll talk about patterns, we'll talk about inference anyways, like I said, but yeah, we're getting there. So over time, um, patterns can reveal different things about you. When you get paid, what you spend on, where you spend. Like when they see recurring payments, like I was talking about this sending money to a particular person, they can know your business relationships, they can know the kind of organizations you support. Imagine that there's a church account that I have put a recurring payment on from my bank, and I'm like, maybe every last Sunday, send 50,000 naira to this account. Like, there's a standing order on my account that I did and all that. And he keeps doing it. People can easily say, okay, if every Sunday else is sending 50K to this church account, it means that she's either a member of this church or something is going on. The fact is that people can infer things, people can start thinking up scenarios, right? Just based off your transaction history, basically, right? So there's a pattern that comes with how you spend. There are people that you can see the pattern with them. They receive salary on the 30th, or let's say 28th of, of July, or of every month. Let's do it every month. For the first 1 week, they're ordering on Child Deck, you know, spending on Child Deck for that first 1 week. They're ordering, takeouts. They're just delivering to your doorstep. You're having fun. First week of salary, you're enjoying yourself. Then the second week, we can see this person has now become a regular at this beans and bread place, right? But when the person is buying the beans and bread, they're buying a lot of more, a lot of egg, this, that, still living big boy lifestyle, right? Then we're going. Third week, things have started changing, right? Let's even say the person does not have a car yet. So maybe first week the person was using Bolt to go to work. Second week too was using Bolt. No, second week you are still using Bolt to go to work, but coming back you use public transport. That kind of thing. Then by the third week, Now you started, food is no more. You're telling the woman to give you beans, but don't worry, don't add. The woman say, how many mama just give me my beans. You understand? You pay for the beans, that kind of thing. Then going home, you're jumping bus from here to there. You're waking up very early because you have to jump bus, that kind of thing. Then we're seeing that by the final week, everywhere is red. This person is drinking Gary back to back. In fact, there are days that the person is not seeing, the person is not eating. You get that kind of thing. So now let's imagine that this person is paying at every point in time from the same account. We might see the entire history. We can see what this person is paying for. We are seeing what this person is doing part time. Exactly, favor. Third week already, Gary. Exactly. That's just how it is. Because your entire this thing, someone can tell your life story. That's just how it is. Somebody can tell your entire life story from how you are spending, what you are spending on, that kind of thing, right? If somebody sees that, oh, every so and so day, I I subscribe, like else pays for X subscription, right? Oh, they'll say, oh, maybe else is looking for monetization on X, that's why she's paying for premium, all those kind of things. The fact is that from all of these things, when all your information are in one place, like you get combined with any other available information, people can paint a very clear picture, right, about your life just from all of these things. And I told us I was going to talk about a little about patterns and inference, right? Inference is like drawing a conclusion from any available information that you have, right? So now you can see that regular payments to a company might mean that maybe you're a customer, right? If you watch movies a lot, you will hear this person was always transferring money to a particular offshore account, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. So people are like, so what's going on? What is his link with so so and so place to so so and so person? Next thing, that they're drawing an inference, right? Because they've noticed a pattern that this person always sends maybe 50K dollars every so so and so day to so so and so account, blah blah blah. That already inferring that something might be going on. There might be a reason why this person is doing this particular thing, right? So this is just how our entire financial data leaves like a trail, right, which is easy to follow. So, and that is where financial surveillance comes in. And financial surveillance is the monitoring, collection, or analysis of people's financial activity, and it can be used for fraud detection, right? If somebody wants to know if you are a how do we put it now? If you are a, let's say, necessary target now, if they should actually target you, right? For in quotes, let's say kidnapping or whatnot. We've had cases where bankers, right, in charge of people's accounts are working with these what's it called now, kidnappers, because they are giving out people's information, they're selling people's information that this particular customer has like so so and so amount with us, so meaning that this person has money. If you people kidnap this one, they have money for ransom. That's just how it works, right? So like I said, it's used for all of these things, like both good and bad, right? So financial surveillance can be used in good ways and in bad ways. But now the thing is, you don't know who can see it. You don't know why the fact that you don't know who has access to that information, why they have access to it, and how they can actually use it against you or for you is the reason why we are very particular about privacy, financial privacy, right? So now, if even though the fact that we this financial surveillance can be used for regulatory compliance, like to check if somebody is paying correct amount of taxes, that kind of thing, to prevent people that are doing financial crime, it can also still be used negatively. It's not always positive. The truth is, the fact that somebody has that information does not mean, oh, literally it will always fall in good hands. That's not the truth. It's always going to be a matter of decision. Yeah, like always going to be a matter of decision, right? It's going to be a matter of, okay, now that I have this information, how do I want to use it for, do I want to use it for or against this person? That's just how it works, right? So financial surveillance is not necessarily a good or bad thing. It is depending on who is in charge of that surveillance. And now we're going to talk about, like, we're just going to look at the different modes of payments that we've had so far, and We're going to look at them in terms of records, visibility, and revelation of identity and all of those things. So when it comes to cash, there is no public transaction ledger. It's just an exchange, basically. Nobody gets to know. It is generally private from outsiders, and it is often not recorded as part of payment. The only way cash payments will be recorded is if there's like I don't know if people know these people that used to do ajo, or what's it called, in market. When they will come to this person's shop, they will have a card for the person, and today the person has paid, they'll tick it. That's the only way, you can say there's a record of something when they write it down, or like an identity. They're often not recorded at all. Like your identity is really not there. If you pay with cash, there's really no identity attached, except maybe where you went to pay for something, there's CCTV there, right? So they can see that this person entered here, did one or two things, and then paid for something. They might not even be able to know how much exactly you paid, what you paid for, but they can see that you were giving somebody money, the cashier money or something like that. So yeah, all of these things, that's how cash works, right? But when it comes to your bank, like maybe your transfer or using your bank cards, your debit cards and all, your records are held by the intermediaries, which is your bank and the receiver's bank, right? And it is generally private from the public, except maybe you are in a court case, right? And then you're in a court case, and then they're like, oh, where is your statement of account, blah, blah, blah. And it's not necessarily going to even be public. Maybe it should just be made public, not public, it should just be made available to, the member of the jury, blah, 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 that are going to judge the case and all of those things. So, yeah. Then accounts generally linked, yes, your account generally that links to your identity. I mean, in Nigeria, to open accounts, you need NIN, you need BVN. All of those things are linked to you as a person. So there is nothing hidden. Now, if we're talking about typical blockchains, the way they work, your transactions are available, in a public ledger, right? Your on-chain activity is publicly visible too. And addresses, even though your addresses don't automatically reveal identity, they are pseudonymous in the sense, right? They are pseudonymous in the sense. But if somebody can figure out that this person is the owner of so 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 and so um wallet address, right? They can actually, in fact, I don't know if there's anybody here that trades meme coins. If you use FOMO app, right? Um, the way FOMO works, you link your Twitter account to FOMO, and then you have a wallet address for each chain that you're trading on, one way or the other. Now, although on FOMO you think that you're just depositing and then FOMO is doing the trades for you, there are wallets, like special wallets created, right, for each of these let's say each of these blockchain protocols that you'll be trading on. I think on FOMO you can trade on Base, you can trade Ethereum, you can trade Solana, you can trade Robinhood, right? Now, if you are using FOMO, you deposit your USDC, right? And you can trade on all of these platforms without having to bridge or whatever. Now, do you know that you can track people's wallet addresses on FOMO? I know because I do it, right? um you track these wallet addresses, you are able to find the person's, let's say, like there's this popular guy, I think Logjam is also on Twitter, right? His account is linked, like, obviously FOMO, his Twitter account is linked to his FOMO app. Now you can find Logjam's let's say Solana wallet, right, that is linked to his FOMO and all that. And you can even find other wallets that is linked to Logjam in one way or the other if you decide to actually dig deep, right? Like that, the wallet address is no longer pseudonymous. It is now public because we know who is behind this wallet address. We know who is behind so 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 and so thing, right? That's what happens on typical blockchains like public blockchains and all of those things. So the fact that we're using OX Kinikon Kinikon does not literally mean that people cannot find you. If they want to find you, like, on-chain analysis is so easy. Like, it's the easiest thing to actually do. It's so easy. If you have the time, you sit down and do it. So anybody can track you. right? So yeah, different systems literally make different privacy trade-offs, right? And that's all of this brings us to where we are. So I was talking about the fact that yeah, on a blockchain, you might see all these orgs, this. You can see the address and it's public activity, but you may not know who owns it, right? And I mentioned the fact that it is addresses are pseudonymous. That means the activity that is happening is under an identifier rather than your real name. But like I just talked about FOMO app and all of those things, how it actually work, right? So if the address now can be linked to your identity, all the public history can actually be linked to you. Like I was talking about Logjam now. If you find Logjam's address on any chain, either Ethereum or Solana or anything, you can be able to find other of his addresses, right, that are linked to him one way or the other. That's just how it is. And because we can link those addresses to him, those addresses are now like the entire history that's happening there, right? They can be linked to him. No matter what is happening with those addresses, we can link it back to so and so person. So that's just how these things work, right? So today's key takeaway basically is that digital payments creates information, and that information can reveal more as it accumulates, right? If it's only one transaction that happens, you can just knock it off. But repeated transactions, right? That's just how it works. And the main thing is who can actually see these things. That's the main thing. Who actually has access to these things? Who has access to all of this information? So this is something that should make us want to think more about financial privacy, think more about who gets to see what we are doing, right? We've spoken before about how privacy is normal. It's not because, oh, I'm trying to hide something, right? It's not because I'm doing something bad, so I don't want the rest of the world to see it, right? It's basically, is it necessary for this to be out there? Is it actually necessary? So there's always going to be a difference between privacy and secrecy, and it's privacy that we keep championing here, right? So for today, our challenge, I explicitly stated here that it's an expose, so please take note of it. You'll be explaining something people may not realize that their digital payments can reveal about them. So we've spoken a lot today. So use also think of an everyday payment situation, to make your points understandable to someone with no crypto background. The goal is to make your reader or your audience, because you might want to do a video or something, or you want to make a graphics or whatever, just make your audience think differently about the information that is created when they make a digital payment, right? So we'll be stopping here for today. If we have questions, we'll be taking that right about now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah.